All right, so are you ready to totally crush that clothing and footwear distribution manager interview?
I think we can definitely help with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We've got like all this amazing info from RoleCatcher,
Yeah.
career guides, interview questions,
Yeah.
even some seriously cool AI tools that can help make your answers like really stand out.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just dive right in.
Yeah, let's deep dive into it.
Okay, so first things first, what does a clothing and footwear distribution manager actually like even do?
It's a pretty cool role, I think.
Yeah.
You're kind of like the bridge between all the hottest fashion trends
Right.
and the people who like actually want to wear them, you know?
Yeah.
You got to be strategic, you got to be efficient, and you got to be like super customer focused.
Yeah. RoleCatcher's career guide makes it sound like a pretty intense job.
Yeah.
Like you're managing the entire like flow of clothing and footwear
Uh-huh.
from like where it's made to where it's sold.
Yeah. It's a huge responsibility.
Right.
It's kind of like being a conductor, you know?
Yeah.
You're making sure the orchestra is like in sync and hitting all the right notes. But instead of music, it's like all about fashion and logistics.
Ooh, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So speaking of logistics,
Okay.
let's talk about those interview questions.
Yeah, right.
Because RoleCatcher has a ton of these sample questions that give us a really good look at what interviewers are looking for in a candidate.
They really do.
Are you ready to tackle some of these?
Oh, yeah? Let's do it.
All right.
I think it'll be super helpful.
Okay, so question number one, it's a classic.
Okay.
What motivated you to pursue this career?
Right.
It seems kind of simple on the surface,
Sure.
but how do you actually like make your answer stand out? You know?
Yeah, it's definitely a common question you'll get in any interview.
Yeah.
But that's why it's even more important to have a really good answer. You know, the interviewer wants to see like real passion, not just some rehearsed response that you've, been practicing in the mirror.
Right.
So you got to bring the authenticity.
So what's the secret sauce here?
I think you really got to think about those specific things that drew you to this field.
Okay.
Was it a love of like fashion? A knack for logistics?
Yeah.
Maybe a combination of both.
Yeah.
Share like a story, a specific experience that kind of sparked your interest,
Ooh.
and then tie it back to how your skills and experiences match what the role demands.
Okay, so like a personal touch,
Exactly.
not just like a list of reasons why.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. And that's actually where RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful.
Oh, for sure.
Because it actually helps you see which skills are like the most important for the specific job that you're applying for.
Right.
So you can really tailor your answer to hit those points.
Yeah, it's like having a personalized cheat sheet for the interview.
Well, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so you can make sure you're highlighting the skills they value most.
Yeah.
And make your answer just way more impactful.
Love it. Okay, so moving on to question number 2.
Okay.
What experience do you have managing teams in a fast-paced environment? This one feels like they're really trying to see how you handle pressure.
Oh, totally. They want to know that you can stay calm
Right.
and make good decisions even when things get crazy.
Yeah.
So this is where you got to ditch those vague statements like, oh, I'm a great leader,
Right.
and come armed with some really concrete examples.
Well,
Like, think about situations where you had to lead a team, delegate tasks, make decisions quickly,
yeah.
and keep everyone on track even when things got chaotic.
So instead of just saying, I'm a great leader, you'd say something like, in my previous role, I managed a team of 10 during a like peak season sale.
Yes, exactly.
We exceeded our sales targets by like 15%.
Perfect. You're not just claiming to be good at something, you're demonstrating it with a real-world example
Right.
and even quantifying your success.
Quantifying, that's powerful.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 3 builds on that same theme.
Okay.
It's, what challenges have you faced managing a team, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, yeah. Good one. So it seems like they're really digging into your problem solving and leadership skills here.
Absolutely. They want to see how you handle difficult situations, how you learn and grow from them.
Right.
So pick a challenge that really highlights your ability to like think, critically communicate effectively,
Yeah.
and lead your team to a positive outcome.
So something like, we had a major shipment delay that threatened to disrupt our entire like launch schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I rallied the team, found an alternative shipping solution, and we managed to get everything back on track, minimizing the impact on our customers.
That's perfect.
Right.
You've shown initiative problem solving
Yeah.
and a focus on the customer.
Right.
All crucial qualities for this role.
And be ready for follow-up questions.
Yeah, always.
Like, what did you learn from this experience?
Right. They want to see that you're self-aware and always striving to improve.
Right. That's such a good point. Now, this next question is really interesting.
Okay.
How do you stay up to date with industry trends?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
This one feels like they're looking for someone who is genuinely passionate about the world of fashion and logistics.
Yes. They definitely want to see that you're engaged and knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So, mention industry publications, that you read conferences, you attend even fashion blogs or podcasts that you follow.
Okay.
Anything that shows you're actively learning and staying ahead of the curve.
So it's not just about like knowing what's trendy right now.
Yeah.
It's about understanding like those bigger forces that are shaping the industry and how that might like actually impact your work.
Exactly. The fashion industry is constantly evolving, so showing that you're a lifelong learner
Right.
and staying curious and informed is a huge plus.
I love it.
Yes.
Okay, this next question feels particularly relevant to like the role itself.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the role of technology in optimizing the distribution process? So this feels like they're kind of testing your tech savviness and your understanding of how things are changing in the industry.
Yeah, they want to know you're not stuck in the past. Technology is key in this field.
Okay.
Talk about technologies that you've used or are familiar with, like inventory management systems, warehouse automation, or even things like data analytics and demand forecasting.
So even if someone hasn't like worked directly with all of those different technologies, it's still important to show that they're aware of them and like understand their potential impacts.
For sure. Do some research beforehand.
Yeah.
Read up on industry trends and be prepared to talk about how you think technology can be used to improve efficiency, accuracy, and customer satisfaction.
Okay, so be in the know.
Yeah, definitely.
This next one is about the importance of doing things by the book.
Oh, okay.
It's how do you ensure that the distribution process is compliant with regulatory requirements and industry standards?
Right.
So it feels like they're looking for someone who is like detail-oriented and understands the importance of following the rules.
Totally. They want to know you take compliance seriously. This is where you can talk about specific processes that you've implemented in the past to make sure everything is done by the book, according to regulations.
So you might say something like, in my previous role, I developed a training program for our team.
Yes.
To ensure that everyone was up to date on the latest safety protocols and compliance standards.
Perfect. Or you could even talk about how you implemented a system for tracking and documenting shipments.
Oh, right.
To ensure full transparency and traceability.
Yeah.
Showing that you're proactive about compliance rather than just reacting when problems arise.
Right.
It's key.
Okay, so being ahead of the game.
Yes.
All right, the next question gets to the heart of managing inventory.
Right.
How do you manage inventory levels to balance customer demand and cost control?
Yeah.
So it feels like a classic balancing act, keeping customers happy while also keeping costs in check.
It is a balancing act, and you need to show that you understand both sides of the equation. So talk about your experience with forecasting demand, optimizing stock levels, minimizing waste.
Yeah.
And maybe even using data analytics to make informed decisions.
So you might say something like, I'm skilled at using historical sales data and trend analysis to forecast future demand.
Yes.
Allowing us to order the right amount of inventory to meet customer needs without overstocking.
Perfect. You're showing that you understand the importance of data-driven decision-making.
Right.
And that you can think strategically about inventory management.
Okay, so data is your friend.
Data is your friend, yes.
Okay, this last question for part one really gets to the heart of what it means to be a strategic leader.
Okay.
How do you ensure that the distribution process is aligned with the company's overall business strategy?
Good one.
So it's not just about moving boxes,
Right.
It's about understanding the bigger picture.
Exactly. They want to know that you can think beyond your own department and see how your work contributes to the company's overall goals.
Okay, so how do you actually connect those dots?
Research the company.
Okay.
What are their mission, their values, their strategic priorities? And then think about how your work as a distribution manager can actually support those objectives.
So you might say something like, I understand that your company is focused on expanding internationally. My experience in optimizing logistics for global shipping would be a valuable asset in supporting that growth.
Exactly.
Right.
You've shown that you've done your homework, you understand their strategic goals, and you can articulate how your skills and experience align with those goals.
Okay, perfect. That's a great way to wrap up this first set of questions.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot already, From showcasing your passion and experience to demonstrating your understanding of technology and the importance of alignment with the company's strategic goals.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can be a huge help in tailoring your answers to each specific job. You can input your responses and get feedback on how to make them even stronger.
Ooh.
Highlighting the keywords and skills that each employer is looking for.
So it's like having a personal coach.
Yeah, exactly.
For your interview prep.
Right.
But we're not stopping here.
Oh, no.
In part 2, we'll dive into even more interview questions from RoleCatcher.
Oh, right.
We'll help you prepare for those tricky behavioral questions and give you strategies for navigating different types of interviews.
Yes.
So stay tuned.
Can't wait.
There's a lot more to come.
We'll see you in part 2. Yeah, we're picking up right where we left off, exploring more of those super insightful questions from RoleCatcher.
They're really helpful.
Yeah, so in part 1, we tackled those big picture questions about your motivations, your experience, your industry knowledge.
Yeah, those foundational things.
Right. But now let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Those tricky behavioral questions that interviewers love to ask.
Oh, they love them.
Behavioral questions. Those are the ones that start with, tell me about a time when...
Right, exactly. They want to hear about specific situations from your past.
Okay.
To get a sense of how you'd handle, similar challenges in this new role. RoleCatcher has a bunch of these, and they can really throw you off guard if you're not prepared.
Okay, so how do we actually tackle these tricky questions?
Yeah.
What's the best way to approach them?
I think the key is to use the STAR method.
The STAR method.
Yeah, it stands for Situation, Task, Action, Result.
Okay.
It's like a framework for structuring your answer.
Right.
So you don't ramble and you make sure to hit all the important points.
I like it. Keeps you organized.
Yeah, exactly.
So for the situation part, you'd kind of set the scene, describe the context of the challenge you faced, right?
Exactly. Then for task, you explain your specific role or responsibility in that situation.
Okay, got it.
Action is where you really shine, outlining the steps you took to address the challenge. And finally, result is where you share the outcome, highlighting what you learned or achieved.
It's simple, but effective.
Totally. And it helps you, demonstrate your skills and experience through real-world examples.
Yeah.
Which is way more impactful than just making general statements.
Love that. Okay, so let's put the STAR method to the test.
All right, let's do it.
RoleCatcher has this question. Tell me about a time you had to make a difficult decision under pressure.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
What kind of situation would be a good example to use here?
Think about a time when you had to weigh different factors.
Okay.
Maybe there were conflicting priorities, or you had to make a call with limited time and information.
So maybe a situation like, in my previous role, we had a major order that was delayed because of a supplier issue. I had to quickly assess the situation, weigh the cost of delaying the shipment versus finding a new supplier,
Right.
and make a decision that would minimize the impact on our customers.
That's a great start. Now walk through the task action and result, highlighting your decision-making process, the actions you took, and the positive outcome that you achieved.
Right.
Did you manage to find a new supplier on time? Did you keep your customers informed throughout the process?
It's about showcasing not just your ability to make those tough decisions, but also your communication skills, your problem-solving abilities, and that customer focus.
For sure. Those are all key.
All right, so RoleCatcher also have this question. Describe a situation where you had to deal with a conflict within your team.
Oh, yeah. Another classic behavioral question.
Conflict resolution. Definitely a crucial skill for a distribution manager.
Big time.
What kind of example would work well here?
I think a time when there was a disagreement or tension within your team.
Okay.
Maybe differing opinions on how to approach a project.
Right.
How did you navigate that conflict?
Ooh. I remember a situation where two team members had very different ideas about how to organize the warehouse space. I facilitated a discussion, encouraged them to listen to each other's perspectives, and help them find a compromise that maximized efficiency and addressed both of their concerns.
Excellent. You've demonstrated your ability to mediate, listen actively, and find a win-win solution.
Win-win. And be prepared for those follow-up questions.
Always.
They might ask you what you learned from that experience or how you've grown as a leader since then.
Yeah, those are good ones.
So it's not just about resolving the conflict,
Right.
but also about showing how you learned and grew from that experience.
Totally. Now let's move on to a slightly different type of behavioral question.
Okay.
RoleCatcher has this one. Give me an example of a time you had to go above and beyond to meet a customer's needs.
Oh, I like this one.
This one's all about showcasing your dedication to customer satisfaction.
It's so important.
Huge.
I remember a time when a customer needed a last-minute rush order for a big event.
Oh, wow.
We were already swamped, but I knew how important it was to them. So I rallied the team, reorganized our workflow, and we managed to fulfill the order on time,
Wow.
exceeding the customer's expectations.
That's a great example. You've shown initiative flexibility
Yeah.
and a willingness to go the extra mile to delight the customer.
It's all about those little extra touches.
Those are qualities that interviewers in this industry really value.
Okay, now let's switch gears a bit
Right.
and talk about different types of interviews.
Okay.
RoleCatcher mentions that you might encounter panel interviews where you're interviewed by multiple people at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Those can be a bit intimidating.
They can be a little nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah, but remember, it's still just a conversation.
Right.
The same principles apply.
Okay.
Use the STAR method, give concrete examples, and just be yourself.
Be yourself. Any other tips for managing those nerves and making a good impression on like a panel of interviewers?
I would say make eye contact with everyone on the panel,
Okay.
not just the person who asked the question.
So engage with everyone.
Right? It shows you're engaging with the whole group.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask for clarification
Right.
if you're not sure what someone's asking.
It's okay to ask questions.
Totally.
It's easy to get flustered in those situations.
For sure.
So those little things can make a big difference.
Yeah. And remember to breathe.
Grieve.
It sounds simple, but taking a moment to collect yourself can really help you stay calm and focused.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And actually, RoleCatcher's AI can help you prepare for those specific panelists.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty cool. It analyzes their LinkedIn profiles and suggests potential questions they might ask
Oh, that's cool.
based on their background and areas of expertise.
So it's like having a secret weapon for the interview.
Right.
Yeah, you can tailor your answers to each panelist, showing that you've done your research and you're genuinely interested in their perspective.
So you're not just prepping for the questions, you're prepping for the people
Exactly.
asking the questions.
Yeah, it's about showing that you're prepared, thoughtful, and engaged.
Yeah. Okay, so we've covered a lot in this part, those tricky behavioral questions, the SCORE method, even some tips for handling panel interviews. But there's one more crucial part of the interview process that we need to talk about.
Okay.
Salary negotiations.
Right.
And RoleCatcher has some great advice on how to approach this with confidence.
Ooh, yeah.
Are you ready to dive into that?
Let's do it. Let's talk about how to navigate this conversation and make sure you're getting the compensation you deserve.
All right, so welcome back to our final part of this deep dive. You know,
It's been a great journey, hasn't it?
it really has. We've talked about those tough interview questions.
Yeah.
The STAR method, different types of interviews, salary negotiations even. But now I think it's time to like zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the industry itself.
Yeah, for sure. It's important to go into that interview not just knowing like how to answer the questions, but also understanding the trends, the challenges and opportunities in the industry.
Yeah, RoleCatcher's Career Guide actually has some amazing insights on that.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They can really help you connect the dots and show those interviewers that you really know your stuff.
Absolutely. So you're not just like reciting memorized answers.
Right.
You're actually showing that you're engaged and informed about the industry.
Okay, so let's talk trends. What are some of the like biggest things shaping the future of clothing and footwear distribution right now?
Well, you can't talk about trends without mentioning e-commerce.
Right. It's huge.
It's completely transformed how brands are getting their products to consumers these days.
It's true. I mean, we're all shopping online more than ever now.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does that actually impact a distribution manager's role?
Think about it. It's not just about like shipping to stores anymore.
Right.
It's about managing this like complex network of warehouses, transportation, delivery partners
Yeah.
to get those orders to people's doorsteps like quickly and efficiently.
And everyone wants their packages like yesterday. Oh, yeah. So that's got to put a ton of pressure on managing inventory and keeping everything running smoothly.
Oh, totally. And you've also got to factor in returns.
Yeah. Returns are a pain.
They can be a logistical nightmare.
Right.
A good distribution manager needs to be able to anticipate demand, optimize inventory levels, and streamline that returns process
Okay.
to minimize costs and keep customers happy.
So many moving parts.
Yeah, it's a constant balancing act for sure.
Definitely. And there's another big trend that adds another layer of complexity.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Sustainability.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Consumers are like so much more aware now about the environmental and social impact of their fashion choices.
They are, for sure.
So how does sustainability actually fit into the world of distribution?
It's about finding ways to reduce the environmental footprint of the entire supply chain.
Okay.
Things like optimizing transportation routes to minimize emissions, using eco-friendly packaging,
Yeah.
partnering with suppliers who share a commitment to ethical and sustainable practices.
So it's not just about getting the product from point A to point B.
Yeah.
It's about doing it in a way that's good for the planet and for everyone involved.
Exactly. And that's something you can totally highlight in your interview.
Okay.
Talk about your understanding of sustainability in the fashion industry.
Right.
And how you can contribute to a more responsible and conscious approach to distribution.
Okay, so show them that you care.
Exactly.
Okay, now, along with these trends, what are some of the biggest, challenges facing the industry right now?
Well, the fashion world is notoriously fast-paced.
Oh, yeah. It's constantly changing.
Trends change so quickly, and consumer demand can be really unpredictable.
Yeah.
So it takes a skilled distribution manager to navigate these shifts and keep everything running smoothly.
And I imagine, those supply chain disruptions can really throw a wrench into things, too.
Oh, totally. We've seen how things like global pandemics, political instability, even extreme weather events can just disrupt the flow of goods.
A lot to handle.
It is a good distribution manager needs to be super adaptable and have contingency plans in place to deal with the unexpected.
So it's about being proactive, thinking ahead.
Totally.
What are some of the skills that are essential for staying ahead of the curve in this kind of environment then?
Strong analytical skills are a must-have.
Okay.
You need to be able to analyze data, identify trends, and make informed decisions about inventory management, transportation, resource allocation, all that good stuff.
So all those data analysis skills we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah. They come into play big time here.
And really important.
And you also need excellent communication and problem-solving skills.
Okay.
You're going to be working with a ton of different people, both inside and outside the company, so you've got to be able to build relationships, communicate effectively, and find solutions when challenges inevitably arise.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges.
Yeah.
But amidst all of that, what are some of the exciting, opportunities that you see emerging in this field?
Ooh, technology is a game changer, for sure.
Okay.
Things like AI, machine learning, automation.
Yeah.
They're transforming the way distribution is done, making it more efficient, accurate, and sustainable.
Can you give us some concrete examples of how this technology is being used?
Yeah, for sure. AI-powered demand forecasting can help companies predict what products will be in demand, which helps reduce overstocking and waste.
That's great.
Automated warehouses can speed up order fulfillment and reduce errors.
Right.
And blockchain technology can be used to track products throughout the entire supply chain.
Oh, wow.
Which increases transparency and accountability.
So cool. It sounds like there are so many cool innovations happening right now.
There really are. It's a really exciting time to be in this field.
It is. So how can someone who's preparing for an interview actually showcase their understanding of all these new technologies?
I think the best thing you can do is do your research. Read industry publications, follow thought leaders on social media, attend webinars, conferences, and then during your interview, be prepared to talk about specific technologies that you're familiar with.
Okay.
And how you think they can be used to improve the distribution process.
So show that you're in the know.
Exactly.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive,
Right.
I want to touch on one more thing.
Okay.
Career growth.
Yes.
RoleCatcher's career guide actually mentions different stages within this role. Starting as a distribution assistant.
Yeah.
And working your way up to distribution manager.
It's a great reminder that you don't have to have all the answers right away.
Right.
You can start with those foundational skills.
Yeah.
And build your expertise over time.
And there are so many opportunities for growth within this field.
Oh, for sure.
So someone listening to this who might be just starting out in their career should feel really encouraged knowing they can work their way up.
Absolutely. This is an industry with a ton of potential. For those who are willing to learn, adapt, and embrace new challenges.
That's a great note to end on. We've covered so much in this deep dive.
We have.
From specific interview questions and how to answer them, to those broader trends and challenges shaping the industry.
It's been a great conversation.
It really has. And don't forget, RoleCatcher's resources, especially their AI-powered tools.
Oh, yeah. They're great.
Can be a huge help in tailoring your approach to each specific company and role.
For sure.
It's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket.
Totally.
So go out there, rock that interview, and embrace the exciting world of clothing and footwear distribution.
Best of luck.
Yes, we're rooting for you.
And that wraps up this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration of a unique career path.